You guys asked for this one, New York deli cucumber salad. Here's the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. Since there's so few ingredients, I'll cut them in front of you today. This is a sweet onion I have here. Make sure our knife is really sharp. This isn't a sharpener, just so you know. All this does is straighten your knife, okay? You can tell if your knife is sharp by putting it on your nail. It should stop on a dime. You're gonna have to really have your knife well sharpened or honed if you're going to slice all these cucumbers with a knife, which I don't recommend you do. I recommend you use a mandolin, but we'll do that in a second. First, we'll chop our onion. And we're gonna use this onion in here to make it sweet. You can use a red onion too. Red onions are nice as well. Peeling off this outer edge here because we don't want to eat that. Even this part you probably don't want to. So we're gonna go root to stem chop so we get nice, very thin slices of it. Kind of like this. Now listen, if you're using the mandolin already for the cucumbers, you might as well just use it for the onion. But I figured some of you aren't gonna have a mandolin. And then that little part there, you know, you can try to go really close if you want, but you're not gonna be able to get it all. And I just turn it around so I make it easy for myself. And we have very thin slices. And the reason we have little individual pieces is because we got rid of the root area, which would keep all the onion together. We don't want that. We want them all coming apart. So we have 4 of these. These are English cucumbers. Now, I'm not gonna profess to know how every deli makes this cucumber salad. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I worked in 4 of them and they all did it differently pretty much. And the major difference wasn't the flavor or anything, it was how they cut the cucumbers. Some of them cut them a little thicker, some of them did it thinner. I prefer it thinner. When you do them thinner, the marinade's gonna take a lot quicker. So listen, if you don't have a mandolin, you're gonna have to do this with a knife. Now, I don't really recommend trying to cut them super thin with a knife. If you do it, just take your time and just do very thin slices, keeping your hand away. I will show you the other way that people cut it. So they'll do it like this, and then they'll cut it all the lengthwise down the cucumber. So they're gonna spoon this area out, and if you have the whole entire length of the cucumber, you just go like this. And then you're left with kind of like a U almost. Like this is what you do for when you're making like a stuffed zucchini. And then they would do kind of like 1/4 inch pieces. I'm not doing that. I want to do it the thin way because I think it gets the most flavor. I think it absorbs the quickest. All right, so I have this mandolin here, which you have to be very careful. We want to cut these very thin, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this down very thin here. Let's just do a test one. Be careful, just start, okay? So that's really nice and thin, just the way I want it. You can use one of these gloves. They're kind of cut resistant. You gotta be careful. So what I'm doing is as I'm coming in, I'm walking my hand down. I'm looking the whole time at the mandolin when I'm doing it. I'm not doing anything else. Here, I'm not gonna really be able to do it. I'll just straighten it up. I always like to go over the ingredients. Now, the reason I cut the cucumber in front of you, I just wanted to show you kind of how to use it safely. You don't have to go all the way to the end there. You can save it, you can cut it with a knife. You can even just save those nubs for like a salad where you're gonna cut thicker pieces. You don't have to use all of it. Just be safe with it. Those gloves really help. It will be hard to cut yourself badly when you're using those gloves. So that's 4 English cucumbers that we used. They're about 1/32 of an inch thin for all you metric users out there. That translates into about probably 0.75 mil. The sweet onion, it's about a medium onion that we sliced root to stem. So we're gonna use that and this together in a second to kind of flavor it. For the brine, we're using 2 cups of white vinegar. The brine will be familiar if you watched the macaroni salad, the potato salad, or the coleslaw. These are all New York deli salads. New York delis apparently love their sugar. I'm not trying to do anything differently with these recipes. It's trying to be duplicates of the delis. You know, if you have a problem with the amount of sugar in here, which is a cup, could you take it out? Of course you could. It's just not gonna taste like a deli at all. The vinegar needs to be balanced with the sugar. So if you don't want all that sugar, probably don't use all this vinegar either. We have 3/4 teaspoon of salt. We have 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. White pepper tends to be a little stronger than black pepper, so keep that in mind. And we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of fresh dill. Let's take care of these cucumbers right now. Okay, one little trick I like to do for the cucumbers is to spread them out as best you can. You could use 2 baking sheets here, which probably would be even better. Put these onions all over. All right, I'm gonna sprinkle that pepper. The last thing you want to do here, 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Let's let these sit for like 15, 20 minutes. I mean, you could do it even more. They're really gonna penetrate. I like to just kind of mix them up to really get that salt and pepper combined. And you're like, well, Jim, what's the point of this? Well, it makes it better. Trust me. We don't want our cucumber salad to be bland. While those are soaking in the salt and pepper, I washed my dill and I'm just going to remove the big stems. You can even just pluck it off. We want about 2 tablespoons of dill weed. So we're just gonna chop this up. So I have 2 cups of vinegar and 1 cup of sugar. Oh, it's a stupid thing. I can never pour out of these things. I'm using a nylon whisk because I have a non-stick pot right here, but you can also just use a wooden spoon. Dissolve this sugar into the vinegar. That's it. You're not doing it for any length of time, just until it completely dissolves. That's it. That's all you have to do. Probably take a couple minutes. I mean, it dissolves before it comes to a boil, but it's completely dissolved now, so I can turn it off. You can check just like this. It's gonna be completely clear. I'm just gonna pull this off the heat. Make sure your water's cold. This isn't super cold, maybe a little colder. Put an ice cube in there and then pour this in here and mix that in. And all that's gonna do is it's gonna drop the temperature a good enough amount. You can now take a baking dish or any type of dish that has some high walls here that's gonna be able to hold all the cucumbers and your liquid. And roughly this looks like 6 cups of cucumbers, but it might be 8. This is our mixture. Let's pour it over carefully. And then here is our dill. Sprinkle it on. Honestly, dry dill works just as well for this application. I think the majority of the delis I worked at all used dry dill. I don't think they used fresh. I just want to mix everything. I want to get it coated. So what you need to do here is the recipe says 2 hours minimum in the refrigerator. You want it to be cool. You don't want this to be hot, but overnight is going to be a million times better. What I recommend you do it overnight. Before you go to sleep, come back, take off your plastic wrap and mix everything again, because you're gonna have some spots that aren't completely submerged. What I'm trying to do here is, because there's a lot of like empty spots and crevices, like volume, you kind of can push everything down and you can almost get all the cucumbers submerged right now. Minimum 2 hours, do it overnight, trust me. All right, so James is back. Thank you for being back, James.
Welcome.
Did you say I have no charisma? Or you say you're gonna have more charisma in this one?
No, cause like sometimes you say that I look like miserable.
He doesn't look miserable. He looks like he's like soon to be taller than me.
I feel like everybody thinks on the videos I'm older than I am. I'm only 12, just so you guys know.
Yeah, he's 12. Older videos, you were only 9 years old. Well, you've always liked food, so I hope you like this deli cucumber salad. Now listen, guys, I didn't go quite long enough for this. I only put it in for about an hour in the fridge.
This is good on burgers. If
Yes.
you guys ever make burgers, you guys should make this.
It is good on burgers. I forgot about that.
I like it.
It's perfect. Nothing can be improved upon it. It's the absolute best cucumber salad you will ever have. Do you agree?
No, like what's in it though? Like I forgot. Like,
Sugar, a lot of sugar.
No, I mean like what's the citrus that you taste?
It's not citrus. It's the combination of the vinegar, the vinegar and the sugar. This was a dish created by German delis and Jewish delis. I would assume probably about the turn of the century. For my whole life, my 40-something years, I always remember it being the exact same way. Tara, do you, right? Same thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, that is what you'd get if you went into a New York deli and you got cucumber salad or some variation thereof.
So, what would you give it, James? 0 to 10.
Let me just finish the last couple bites.
There's your answer right there.
You can just say it. You don't even need to
I'm
write
gonna
it
give
down.
it a 10.
A 10?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. Thank you.